season tickets for the dog pound. Ooh, holy shit.
That is sweet.
Yeah, I really was. I was like speechless. Cause I mean, she's good with gifts. She doesn't care about spending money on gifts. And that's a lot of money. That's not like her to spend.
Yeah.
On something like sports related, because she hates.
Is that over $2,000 or something like that?
Well, because they no longer require the PSL, it wasn't. It ended up 1,800 or something like that.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad, and they're not bad seats. They're halfway. They're like at the halfway point. They're in the upper deck of the dog pound, but they're not at the top or anything like that. They're in the bottom section of the upper deck.
Got it.
They're good seats, and I get to go to this VIP draft party with the Browns and the Legends above or something like that, with food and alcohol, and they provide free parking.
Nice.
So that's cool.
That is very cool.
Looking forward to that.
I can't believe that one game when the first word
Just like
came out.
Roger can say, federal prison all day.
I would make
Like a
strides
draft
on
pick.
you, but then you would,
He could have
still hit
worse
some
luck
big
than
numbers.
himself.
Like I made strides, and like,
She's like, he just doesn't know what it's going. I mean, and yeah, he's probably not going to go to federal prison, but I mean, if he's convicted, they're going to do the same thing they did to Eddie the Eagle, out of San Francisco in Houston.
I haven't seen one that.
Of a felony. They're going to suspend him and basically force him to sell or get off the team.
Right.
It just fucking takes over.
Wow.
And if they find him and hammer his company hard enough, you don't want him on the team because he's not gonna have any fucking money.
But you're playing, you're playing.
Train has
Right.
gas posts.
No.
Nice to get a little kickstart. We can't afford that.
Yeah.
Captain been here
It's
for
impossible.
Captain been alive 15 years, ready to fall apart.
He's getting hard.
Unless,
When you got seats ready?
unless there were like three words, and they were able to add.
Mark Shields to the can, boy, you
That's
just
such a good puppy.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that different than last week?
That's what I said.
You said last week.
I scored 5 homers versus 1 game.
I don't know.
No, 'cause I was, yeah.
You and me, Mark.
This is this week.
Such a good boy.
Yeah, I was sitting here last week.
Such a good
And this one
boy.
we got 301.
784
Such a
series.
good boy.
That's like my lifetime earnings.
Check Tracy on the turn.
We had to pull
How do you know where you're seated? You're just guessing? Oh.
No, I'm listening.
What?
That's not maybe correct.
He likes to get there so he can be facing you can. Gets more face. No, there's 3 names up there already.
Those aren't correct.
This one I used an opener.
Hold on, here I come.
Crazy.
Here I come.
Alright,
I already
good luck
started
with
recording, so we're
good luck with
good.
Trevor. I mean,
I'm just gonna start the
He's got a
meeting
notepad
there,
and
take
everything.
away, commentators.
Super.
He's way into this.
What's up, bud?
That'll skip one, so,
Oh, when you put the card down?
Oh, we will.
yeah.
There's a picture of
Don't forget to commentate,
the next
though.
poker table I wanna build for CTV is
Oh.
in the printer,
Oh.
the printout there. That's what I want the new one to look like.
Let me see. Let me see. Holy cow.
That's right.
Pedestal? Wow. Oh, that is so fucking cool.
It is.
I'm
Fun for
impressed.
everyone.
Alright, you guys have fun in here. Don't forget to take time out to commentate.
Really? Thanks, Paul. I don't know. Chris always starts everything, so Tony's got.
I think so. You already got it going.
He's got it going?
Yep.
All right. I never pay any attention. What's your notepad? Let me see.
We got VPIP, pre-flop raise, and
Oh,
C-bet.
wow. You're going to confuse our audience with terms like that.
Buckle up. Oh, is
be like 2 minutes.
Is he playing tonight for Max or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good deal.
5 minutes. 500 minutes.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Our viewership's going to go down tonight.
Yeah, by a whole one. I like watching on YouTube anyhow. Well, not anyhow, but the stupid commercials drive me nuts.
We've been outside all day.
These commercials? Oh, when we take a break.
No, like I mean, they just pop up like
Oh, really?
Kia or.
I didn't even know. I haven't watched one enough.
I swear it always happens at the most crucial times, and it's just like someone's all in, and then like when it comes back, it's trying to catch up real quick, and it's like goes real fast. So you're like, what the heck was the action? I have no idea.
It'll get a little crazy at first.
The players who want to take a picture.
Yeah.
It'll take you a while to get used to it.
2 or 3.
3, top 3.
And the only bad thing is we never know what anybody's bet or raised unless they say it. Oh,
Look at you. So they start with what, 5K stacks? Or is it bigger now?
6, I think.
6?
Yeah.
Try to do our best to monitor.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean it's hard.
Chris is real good at it. He can look at them stacks and tell you within usually 500-600 what they got. I can't.
How's the headphones in the commentator room?
Mine's working good.
Good.
Trevor?
I got nothing.
On-off switch.
Yep, got it now. Oh, cool.
Marco. Yeah.
Get a sneeze.
If I start berating people too much.
No, that's not.
That's encouraged?
That's encouraged, yeah. That's so unlucky. I said, that's not lucky. That's just bad luck.
Poor Paul.
He got a little mad.
Oh, I can imagine. Doesn't take much for him.
I bet you pick your card. It looked like an ace. Looked like an ace.
So which one's on a little bit of a delay?
Actually,
Or this one?
Yeah.
That's the delay one?
this is delay. This is live.
Okay.
This is the one that show up with the
Oh,
eye.
because this is what's been recorded, right? So
Yeah.
it starts there and it loops
It's
in
like
there.
a minute delay. That way, if Marco pulls his penis out, we can edit it out now.
I don't know how I missed that. Not that I was hoping to see it.
I missed it too, and I was here. The best part of it was he kept sticking his hand in Dan's ear. You know who Dan is. When Dan coming the next day, I was talking to him. I said, "What's your hand in his penis? It bothered me so much."
There's some handsome devils.
Actually, I think you broke it.
Where they at?
All right, we're going to be getting underway here in just a moment. I'm rebooting the software real quick, too. Live. There we go. All right. Good. You want me to start on that image, or do you want to start on that, or how do you want to do it? That's a good idea. One at a time. There you go. All right, viewers, we're going to get game number 10 underway. This is season number 4, Chase the Bracelet. Going into tonight's game, I believe it's Dan Crafton that's the chip point leader? Point leader?
Yes, it is.
Aha. And starting stack is 6,000 in chips. Blinds are 18 minutes, starting 25:50, and I'm going to get the clock started here. We're ready to go. Take it away, commentators.
Welcome, everybody. I'd like to welcome Trevor to the broadcast booth.
Thank you very much. It's very, very exciting to be here.
So what are you looking forward to seeing tonight, Trev?
I'd like to see a lot of aggression. You know, I watch at home weekly, and I see there's a lot of spots people can take advantage of picking up blinds or just repping big hands and
Chris calls 50.
giving a lot of chips. So we'll see if they can take care of that tonight.
Robert calls 50. Moskowitz raises to 150.
Very passive early, especially.
Yeah, everyone likes to test the waters and see who's going to come after it tonight.
Well, except for Marco. Marco's pretty much always aggressive.
Yeah, Marco hasn't yet to find the fold button as of now. We'll see if that keeps up tonight. I assume it will.
Chris calls 150. Robert calls 150.
Chris filling in for Max tonight. See what kind of finish he can do for him.
Checks over to Moskowitz. Bets 300.
We can hardly hear the players at all, Tony.
Can you? I will try to adjust that for you.
Now I can't hear anything. And now I got nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. Can you hear anything?
No.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Well,
I'm never going to be able to do that again, so I'm full.
Let's just, everyone redistribute the chip, let's start over, there was no audio.
Yeah, that's real good.
That's major difference. You can hear everything. Who's the other commentator tonight? Trevor. Trevor Paul, isn't it? Max?
Is that a poker name or somebody actually named it?
Are we full to the blinds here?
Two players, just kidding. Bobby Colden, small. Bobby.
I'll be playing like Mitt Romney tonight.
150 bet by Chris Ward. Or 125 bet by Chris Ward.
Chris betting his flush draw. In there was Jack 5. You'll played with Chris several times, and you'll see him with hands like that quite a bit.
Yeah, he has no fear. He likes to put his pedal to the metal and make his opponent make mistakes.
Tony, you get that photo on that machine over here. I've never seen that before. It's pretty funny. Well, I'm a pervert, so I know all about it.
First sack will be Paul Moskowitz.
My boy, Blue.
Marco with 7s, Corey with 2s. I doubt we'll see Corey in here. Real tight.
Marco raises to 150.
Marco keeping things going as he likes
Corey
to
calls.
normally do.
Corey did call. I'm surprised.
If Corey could make a set here, he could definitely make some money off of
Oh,
Marco.
yeah.
If not his whole stack.
Robert calls.
Rob says why not?
And flop second pair.
Both players.
Let's see if Marco is able to represent anything here and take down the pot. I don't like to check on the flop or turn by Marco here. If you're gonna be that aggressive pre-flop, you might as well continue with the hand.
C225.
Robert bets 225.
This allows the world to get there.
Not sure what Marco's thinking about here.
He's thinking about a later career in Hollywood. See what kind of starlets he can acquire.
And now Corey's thinking.
This would be a very ill-timed check raise with Rob sitting on 3 10s here. Even though his hand is fairly disguised.
Corey calls.
Yeah, I think he's just going to call. I was just going to say, I think he's just calling.
That's a curious play by Corey. He doesn't usually back himself into those kinds of corners trying to get information. I mean, in most cases, that's just an information call.
Action on Mark first.
We got Chris with pocket eights. Suited Dan with a jack queen.
I could see Bobby and Chris getting into a little bit of a tussle here. Little meta game.
Bobby with fives.
Suited Dan raises to 175.
What are the top 3 places right now? Who's in first right now?
Bobby calls.
Bobby, you dropped, right? So who's in first?
I can see Chris throw a 3-bet out here on the button.
Let's see what Chris does with the eights.
Dan's capable of raising late. Bobby in position behind Dan could obviously be calling late.
Chris calls. Robert calls.
No harm in calling there.
Train, tell the button not to splash the pot.
Sir, please don't splash my pot.
Paul calls.
Let's see who gets lucky here.
Paul calls with the jack 10.
5 players.
Well, Max gets real lucky. Chris flops quads.
From what I hear, you have to phone ahead for those kinds of flops.
Everybody checks.
Oh, and now Paul Moskowitz has an open-ended straight.
Open-ended straight for Paul, and Bob might think his fives are still good here. No one's shown any strength, and he's got a pair in the hole, and he might think he's got the table beat right now.
Bobby bets 350.
Bobby does bet.
A smallish bet. He wants to make sure if someone comes over the top, he's not going to get in too much trouble.
Chris Ward calls.
As the book says, Chris flats behind.
Rob thinking about his 3 here.
Please call us. This is awesome.
Robert calls.
Chris is just doing cartwheels inside right now. And Paul,
Even with the pair board, Paul isn't getting terrible odds right now. It calls an open down straight draw. He gets braided so often for playing so tight. I think this might be his spot where he calls just to show everyone that he is not
he
that
hits
player.
the straight.
Don't be a 5. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's ugly.
Bob might be joining us in the booth sooner than we thought.
Well, I tell you what, I've seen Bobby get away from some hands that a lot of people can't. But
I feel like he has a bit of a war with Chris, though.
oh, does he?
I think this might turn to
Bobby bets 1,000.
a bit of a pissing match here. If Bob would just turn to his left and see how comfortable Chris is, he might be able to pick off something.
See how much he raises here.
2250.
Chris
2750.
Chris raises to 2750.
Bobby does have his thinking face on. We'll see if he snap jams thinking that Chris just has an 8.
Bobby all in. Instant
And
call by
Bobby
Chris.
is out.
What do you do? What do you do?
Quads. Really?
That is a trademark cooler.
Quads.
There are
Really?
several people at the table very
He's
excited.
alive! You're saying there's a chance.
Quad.
Dan is doing his best to hide his happiness right now. As the current point leader.
Bobby has 25 left in his stack.
Oh, wow, I thought he was out.
Look at the turn. I ain't with the shoe.
Chipping it too.
I just said 2. I'm like, you're talking.
Oh, what did you like?
I can never pull.
Why? I'm just curious. Not on the river ever. Had an open-ended straight draw. Okay.
Had that been a $1,000 play at the horseshoe, he maybe thought a little longer before he
No,
shipped
actually,
his stack.
someone could have hit it, but you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but you're not.
Why would you? I guess if you raise any ever even qualify for it.
Marco to act first.
I'm probably calling
We'll see how cool the deck is.
Chris has picked up aces.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, Max, this is a tough game for you to sit out, buddy.
Yeah, I did good earlier. You did good now. It was a pleasure being here, guys.
I think Bob should fold just because it's funny.
Excellent game.
Oh,
Why not? I mean, there's potential for someone to get knocked out. Why
You know
not?
what?
He's in Moskowitz mode.
I'm going to be in the kitchen. Want me to show you how to work that?
250 now.
Chris raised to
I
250.
have a big blind, and I know how to play. Knock me out if I don't play.
So let's see what Dan does with his 4s, with one of them being dead already. Oh, wait.
Even I
I thought Mark might call there.
Dan won't fold.
Dan calls.
Dan likes
Kind of cooler. I thought he just had an innate when he called.
and he flops aces
Wow.
full.
I thought he had 8-9.
Flop better, Chris.
Both
Flop
players
better.
check.
I don't know if that's possible.
Close for review. Yeah, when you flop quad. No.
Did Bobby save his
Chris
chip?
bets 300.
That's how I mean.
Well, quads are the hardest to play.
So Dan calls.
You know what? Who's getting the cards? No substitute. We make it substitute. Come on. Is this how you beat Paul?
Yeah.
Just like this? I just got cards after cards after cards? Quads and then
That's how you want to play.
I know. Paul said he won like 5 times.
Yeah, especially when it goes check, check, flop.
If you always have the nut, you don't have to know what anyone else has.
Just let me get a quadruple up. Give me a
Oh,
shot.
wouldn't that have been sweet if like Dan had quad king or
Thanks. I'll take
something?
it, dude. You never know, dude. If I win one,
You give him that, he might come back and win.
I know. If I win one so early in the game right
Paul's
now.
got the button now.
See Dan with 7-8 at heart.
Bobby will definitely be stuffing it with his 2-3s here.
We'll get you
Trying to get lucky.
I got a big one.
No overpairs at the time, but
All in.
Good luck, Bob.
See Dan calls. Bobby all in.
Let's see what Chris does here with 7-5 off. Yeah, he's going to come in and try
Chris
to
calls. Robert calls. Paul Moskowitz calls. Mark calls.
we'll see how cruel the deck can be. Maybe blow up a flop quads to have.
Marco checks his
I'll
options.
leave it up one time. Which one's mine? All right.
One time,
The bigger one.
I would have probably put it in my pocket and saved it for later.
Oh, you
Maybe
did?
there. No, I'm kidding.
You probably like 3-4.
Marco flops 3-4s.
Of course.
I mean, this one's all around, so I
Standard.
really feel like I have no shot.
Oh,
yeah,
Board
I see.
already? 250.
Chris Ward bets 250.
Chris bets his 5-7 off.
What?
I mean, everyone probably assumes that he has quads right now. Minimum deuce is full.
I fold to them. I'm scared.
Marco calls 250.
Well, Bob.
It's been real, guys.
Good job. Good game, Bob.
Bob pretty much knows his fate.
I'm going to go to the booth right now.
There you go. You're going to vote up here, Bobby.
I didn't see any mucks pre-flop, so looks like he has 2 live outs.
Chris bets 700.
Chris with his 5-7 and no chance of winning.
He thought he accumulated too many chips early. He wants to give some back to the field.
1750 raise by Marco. Chris folds.
Don't really understand that line.
You have an out?
Side pot.
2 outs. What? 2 outs. Wait, I get a side pot, right?
Can you roll your cards over, sir? Thanks, buddy. I do.
5 of diamonds.
The ball on the river this
5 of hearts on the
Just for
river.
karma.
Nope.
Alright guys, it's been real.
Bob says good
Bye.
night.
That's it for Bobby.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate your company. Come back next week.
I have to
Talk about how bad he played that full house.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be in real quick.
I was trying to steal it. Let's play it up.
Hello, fans.
That was a little bit of a cruiser, wasn't it?
No, I mean I play bad. You know sometimes I make bad decisions, and I hit the 5 on the river, and got a full house. But I need to read more, study.
And you need to not
I will say I am not.
I mean, he obviously could have had 8-9.
He could have had 8-9. When he raised me on the river, I mean, there is some concern to be folding, but it's kind of hard. I mean, you hit your gin card. I hit the undercover secret card that I feel like.
As it was being turned, I said no 5.
And it was a 5.
I thought I meant to be impartial, but it just
125 raised by Ed.
I mean, I look at it as a cooler anyway, but to be honest, I don't know. Even pre-flop, I could have folded, but I'm not a big fan of folding pre-flop. I probably shouldn't have bet the turn either, but everybody checked through twice. I'm gonna
that was
bet
like
Marco calls.
we figured that once no one showed strength, you have a pair. I mean, it looks like a bunch of big cards. Why not take a stab?
Marco first
Your
stab.
stab size, I thought was pretty good. The pot was about 7.
Yeah.
What else,
Half
Paul?
pot.
You said I didn't understand.
Half pot just to maybe keep somebody that's drawing to like a club draw, or they just picked up a straight draw with the 9, or
Absolutely.
anything really, just to maybe
225
take it down.
bet by Ed.
There actually were 2 straight draws in there when they
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't mind the bet, and then on the river, I mean, obviously I thought I was value betting. There's only a few hands that beat me at that point. I mean,
First act will be Dan.
a lot of them I don't know would play like pocket 9s. I wasn't scared really. I mean, I feel like that's pre-flop going to get raised. Sure.
Yeah, I feel like pocket nines probably click back the turn
Yeah.
to blow the pot.
Well, especially with the straight draw, picking up the straight draws and the flush draws, it seems like that's something.
Especially when your image of being a guy that will build a pot or
Right.
push people off a pot. People want to bloat it and get it going when they have such a strong hand.
Yeah, we got a big pan brewing here.
There we go.
Ed with queens and Chris playing for Max with ace queen.
I can't wait for Max to watch this and see all
Chris
the hands
raises
he
to
puts down on
225.
tonight.
Well, he would have probably played them way different. I believe he may have shoved pre-flop. I'm not too sure though.
I think
I can't call it.
When he
unless
would have
he's-
flopped quads, he would have.
Raised to 600 by
I thought
Marco.
about folding on the river when you bet.
If you would have looked to your left a little bit, I think you could have seen
Raised
Chris's
to
comfort.
1300 by Ed.
Well, I mean, I haven't really played with Chris too much, and
So do we have a 3-bet here?
it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I still look at it as a cooler regardless. I may have been able to get away from it on the river and save like half my stack, but
It literally was a gin card in the river.
I just felt like I was getting it in there, and I mean, you run into quads. It's not too often that happens. That'll be the talk of the
Chris
next
folds.
season. That hand.
I mean, it wasn't that cold.
No, it wasn't that cool. I'm just kidding.
Looks like we had a 3-bet there, and Chris folded ace queen, and it's taking down.
Marco calls.
Marco says, F your raise.
The king 4.
I'm suited, and I'm going to get there.
And
Or else wait until the scariest flop ever comes out versus queens.
Ed can't like this.
Ed goes Terminator.
Action on Ed.
He's looking at Marco like, what on earth did you call me with?
1250 bet by Ed.
Is that 1,000?
Marco called these quite a bit.
I feel like he's kind of here to gamble today. Like I think
Marco
he's.
folds.
Oh, nice fold.
Marco throws us a curveball.
Yeah.
Just when you think you have him figured out. And that's a spot where Marco could get away with a check raise because his hand range is so infinite that queens will shrink up in a heartbeat.
Well, one of the things too is Ed is probably one of the tighter players at the table too. So I think Marco with that flop is like.
There's only a couple that play better than Ed.
Now, if that was me in Ed's spot, I think Marco would have raised because that's just how he is.
No, he does that a lot.
He does that.
Especially to the point leaders.
Look at Ed, just picking up the hands.
I said just give it to me. Give me everything.
I feel like Marco's going to play too.
Chris calls 100.
Marco,
he's suited-
his full
suited
button
gapper.
was left in his car. Especially when he looks down at Jack 9 suited. There's no getting away from that.
Chris calling under the gun. with
Marco
4
calls
times
100.
off.
Well, that's the way he rolls, man. He just doubled up really early. I think he can.
Even if he hadn't have doubled up, he'd have been
Limp in.
He plays a ton of hands early.
Ed
I knew
calls
that.
100.
That's,
Suited Dan checks
that's
his
another
option.
thing that I thought maybe he was trying to use the points card. You know, like he knew I was not trying to go out, and maybe he would
Action on Ed.
do
Checks.
something weird.
It did not raise the ace-king suited.
Yeah.
Chris
don't-
bets 300.
I don't really follow that logic any day of the week. I think you have to
Marco
probably use a
calls.
crowbar to get Marco off of this hand now. Flopping up and down, or gut shot rather.
Yeah. He's got to go.
And
I feel like Sundays is the day you can limp ace king, suited especially.
any Sunday you want.
And he got
Sundays
9.
is long. There it is.
Chris bets 1100.
See, this is what limping with 5-4 does to you. Now it's almost like you have to maneuver around scary
You-
flops out of position.
Marco folds.
And he does it. Marco is playing way different
Yeah.
than he
Marco
usually
had a
is.
lobotomy apparently yesterday and didn't tell anyone. We're finding out right now, right in front of your eyes. Chris, I mean, he's using his chip stack early. You
Yeah.
know? I
Oh,
mean,
he absolutely will.
he can't win a tournament in a half an hour, but he will try his hardest to do so.
Robert tacked first.
The thing with Chris, if you get a hand against Chris, just keep checking it to him because he's just going to keep holding.
Yeah, I mean,
That was my plan.
Well, sometimes it's nuts, but
Yeah.
yeah, Chris is rewriting the book on three barreling.
Basically, the book goes, never stop three-barreling.
Ed raises to
It's not a
225.
long book, and actually there's a couple pictures of just barrels. Of
Yes. There's wooden barrels. There's barrels rolling down hills.
Chris
All of
calls.
the above.
Chris calls out of the big blind with Jack 3 suited.
I will give him it. It is suited. So, and
He flops second
obviously
pair.
he is. Let's see.
Let's see if he turns his hand into a bluff as well.
Ed bets
I
350.
think I'll take.
Chris
that he
calls.
is. Especially against Ed. I mean, Ed's limping ace king.
I mean, this hand, I mean, he's floating, but he thinks he might have actually the best hand right now.
Ed bets.
Or not.
Nah, he just
Chris
took
folds.
one off because he had a pair.
I did that. I did it so fast.
Was that a raise?
That's an
Ed raised and Chris folded.
Did Ed raise his flop bet?
No, you got the turn.
Oh.
You got turn, you bet and fold it.
Button moves. First
Some
stack
more
will be
coolers,
Paul
they're so
Moskowitz.
exciting.
Yeah, I want to witness somebody get cooler just out of spite. And preferably Dan Crafton. I really would like Dan Crafton to get cooler.
Crafton?
First off, he does make amazing calls, but we won't talk about that. Has nothing to do with why I want to see him get cooler.
Ed?
Just the points.
Ed just won't stop, can't stop. He's getting it. Here's another
Mark
guy.
raises to 300.
I believe I would like to see him just flat call here.
Mark, you raised?
Jokes.
It
I got
depends.
jokes.
If you get a couple people in front of him, I think he's got to raise it though.
Yeah.
Mark opened here.
Yes, Mark raised to 300.
Yeah, I would definitely like a 3-bet. Why not? He's been fairly active, and he might.
For sure.
Raised to 700 by Ed Wigler.
Did he raise?
Yeah, he raised to 700.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I was just kidding, obviously, about calling. I'll never recommend calling. Maybe from the button, if you know that the blinds are tight and they're going to fold. Just kind of disguise, but
Where's the current button right now?
Action is on Mark.
It's 75. You got it.
But button is on suited Dan.
Okay.
Suited Dan. Okay, so
Ed does have position in his hand, and he has control. Let's see if,
Mark did call.
Mark calls and flops the nut flush draw.
he's so good at that. I swear, that every hand I play against this guy, he flops a flush draw.
He will get there.
And he gets there by playing train automobile some way.
I am fairly certain that the Queen of Clubs is coming on the turn.
Ed
can
bets
just
1,000.
feel it. There's something in my pants. No, I didn't mean pants.
Bob's been
Mark
known to,
calls
Bob's
1,000.
been known to call cards.
That word call.
Okay, I'm in on the river.
That's a partial
And
break.
now he's picked up the straight draw too.
He's got the gutter ball with the flush draw.
Yeah.
He's got the ace,
I wouldn't-
the club, and a
I wouldn't
nine.
mind a
Mark checks.
a check raise jam isn't the best play, but like we said, we have a tight player.
1,200 bet by Ed.
I mean, I feel like Ed recognizes that one pair isn't as strong as people make it out to be.
Yeah. If Marco would just go with his gut sometime, I can see he wants to.
Mark announces a raise.
There you go, Mark.
Mark
He wants
does
to make
raise.
these plays.
Mark is all in.
Nice.
Boy, that's how you do it.
I like this a lot.
29.50.
Especially with the point structure. You know, everyone's trying to outlast the last person.
It's so tough too.
2,950.
because-
And even if he's wrong, and I mean, even if he gets called, he's going to win 40% of the time.
Sure. I mean, 10s and 8s are in his range. I mean,
If we could get a shot on Ed and see if his eyes are turning red like the Terminator, that would be.
this is a huge hand right here.
This would be a great call in my opinion. I think in Mark's position, it's really hard to think one pair's good. Does he want to gamble? Mark obviously put his gambling pants on. There he
Ed
goes.
calls.
Will he get it? Here comes the Queen of Clubs.
I feel like, well, now it'll be out of spite. I feel a deuce of clubs.
Or like it's a red sevens because it's the annoying way to get there.
Yes, yes. Please, Train, if you're listening to me, red 7, coming right up.
4 spades on the river.
And that's not it.
It was black, but not the black he was looking for.
Well, today is just one of those days. I mean, usually we get to the first break without losing one, and here we lost 2.
I don't know if I can agree with that.
That's a great call.
That's a tough call, but then on the other hand, you know,
Reds, yeah, really don't want to lose.
what is he? I mean, the only thing he's really repping, I think, is pocket sixes.
No, Mark wouldn't. I'll be in the kitchen eating rock.
Banking on a turn?
Because what else? I mean,
I think it.
Didn't he check call on the
way
flop?
The pre-flop went. I don't think Mark is raising a pre-flop with 6. I think he's limping. I could see him raising with 8s or 9s.
Marco
Yeah.
calls.
I think those sets show up a little bit more often.
I'm just saying when that flop comes and he check calls.
And also a hand Mark will play a lot in
Raised to 425 by Corey.
One gapper there.
Oh, absolutely.
He does that a lot.
He could have.
Could have had 10-8 very well. Could have had 10-8 or Jack 9 and been trying to get there. It's hard. It's hard to put people on ranges in this chase to bracelet because everybody's trying to outplay each other.
I mean, people, and plus the sample size at this point, you know, there's hundreds of hands under everyone's belt. So there's memory, there's previous hands playing into account on each hand.
Like getting called by a king jack when I squeeze.
Moskowitz
Exactly,
folds.
because everyone knows you are a loose donkey. They can't ever just sit back and not squeeze.
Marco calls. 2 players.
By squeeze, I don't mean hug people.
I wish there was a stat on my how often I squeezed in this tournament, because that would be
Every
great.
opportunity. A couple air balls here. Let's see if
600 bet by Corey.
if Marco respects Corey's range here.
I was
Marco
gonna say,
folds.
This is one person I think he'll fold to.
Yeah. We can definitely use the limit in this tournament. I mean, everybody's pretty much on auto fold button on flops that they don't hit against them.
Other than hearing Suited Dan laugh, I didn't know he was even at the table.
Corey
I think he's
Dak
made
first.
one raise, and other than that, he's been pretty content. I think he's still excited that Bob's been knocked out, and he's going to maintain atop the leaderboard, and I think he's just going to try to ride it out and accumulate as many points as possible.
Yeah, this today really hurt my feelings. I'm probably going to get knocked down a lot.
I just assumed you missed me and you just wanted to sit and Paul.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Agreed.
Every other, I think.
I am pretty sure that
Rob picking up into
Rob getting his turn at the ladies.
Chris with an ace-9 suited.
I just want somebody to
Chris raises to
flop
325.
quads and then somebody else river a boat and get cooler just like I did. I mean, I would love to see it.
Raised to 1,000 by Robert.
Standard 3-bet by Rob. Chris is opening a lot of hands here.
Chris folds.
But he has the discipline to fold here.
Well, Rob doesn't 3-bet very often.
You didn't want to know that.
And when he does, it's usually a pretty big game.
He also showed queen.
Is this the cat that goes all when he stands up?
Yes.
That's a hot move. That's a move I'm working
Worked so well, he got kings to fold pre-flop.
It's going to work in my repertoire. I
Ed-
remember
Ed
that.
Deck
That was
first.
one of the first games of the season, and I'm watching on my computer going,
That didn't just happen.
this guy never wants to get called ever, and he's got the best starting hand in poker.
Ed folds 9-10 suited there.
Oh, man. I understand seeing all the cards makes your thought process just go a little
Chris calls
crazy,
100.
but you see those suited connectors, and you just want to get it in there.
I want to play a pot anyway.
Especially,
Raised to 500 by Marco.
You got Dan on your left, playing tighter than anything. I mean, Chris could come at you a little bit, but Paul's also playing super tight. Why not get going?
And once again, then Marco's back to when he makes the huge raise, he's got not much.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
That is absolutely standard play in Marco's realm.
Suited Dan Ack first.
He over raises the crap hands, and then when he gets premium hands, he calls.
I mean, he's here to party. This is a poker game / party for him. As long as he's smiling, life's good. This is definitely an interesting dynamic for the remainder of the game. We'll see what Marco's opening range
And
is here.
Chris has got kings
Of
now,
course,
and Marco's
standard.
got tens.
Standard.
300 bet.
If
by
only I could get
suited
cards like
Dan.
these, I think I would
Raised
win
to
the
1,100 by Chris.
And suited Dan raises in early position with king 10 off.
Sudan must have heard me wondering if he was still at the table.
Maybe he's getting bored. I don't know.
Let's see what Marco does at tens here.
Did
Could
Chris
we
just
see a
flat call?
4-bet? No, he raised.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that would be
I
a
was gonna say,
sick.
could we see a 4-bet here?
How
We don't
awesome
get
would it have
the-
been?
Marco calls.
Oh, we don't get those very often.
Yeah, 4 bets.
Yeah.
Stack sizes don't usually allow for that kind of play, but a 4-bet would show some serious strength.
He just called, right?
Suited folds.
Dan makes the wise decision.
Yeah, Marco's calling. Keep forgetting you don't have headphones.
Yeah. How sick would it have been if he would have flatted and then Marco would have raised? What was that? I am surprised that wasn't 9-9 king.
Honestly.
All in and a call.
Okay.
Marco got it all in with tens.
Wow. That was surprising that
Not
just happened.
really.
Was it check to him?
4 of diamonds.
He, I believe, was first to act.
7 of clubs.
Oh, he's a button.
Marco does that kind of stuff
Marco the
quite
button?
often.
Yeah. That's why I was wondering if it was check.
That was a very sneaky check by Chris. I'm not a huge proponent of 3-betting pre-flop and checking
And then
flops.
checking. I mean,
Well,
a lot of players will notice that's kind of suspicious.
Chris has watched Marco all year. I've seen him make moves like that.
That is
all
true.
year.
If anyone has a playbook on Marco,
Yeah.
it would have been Chris.
Chris Wardak first.
That's assuming he's not back here spinning in his chair.
Is this still the same? Well, see, I don't feel as bad. Oh, okay. But still, it's pretty early still, and I don't feel as bad about going out.
Corey with ace king here.
Ed with ace 10.
Chris calls
I
100.
feel like with only 2 games left after
Robert
this, it's
calls
going to be a
100.
very hard comeback with the way the point structure is. I'm going to have to... Some crazy things are going to happen for me to move back up there.
LDP, you're done at lockdown poker. Maybe read some more books.
That's pretty much
Raised to
how to avoid
450 by
quads
Corey.
after rivering a boat.
Yeah. You can
Corey
also
raises here with ace king on the button.
Please, sir, don't be so aggressive with my card.
fold, snap folds all around. Very standard play.
All players
Even
fold.
though, you know, a more aggressive player raising the button might not get as much respect
Comes me.
that it is
Robert
Corey.
attack first.
He gets major respect now.
If I raise her, I'd probably get shoved on. And then I'd fold
By
it.
the 8-3.
What do I need to
And
do?
then the flop would come up 8, 8, 3, 3, 8.
Can you make quads flirt with one hand? They would do their best.
I'm sure.
And ace on the river. And another game. I honestly feel like I don't know how to play poker anymore. I kind of forgot. Like at the beginning of the season, I knew
Every
how.
hand. I tell you what, they must really like me down here because
Yeah, this
every
is the
other
most
hand,
action we've had.
every other hand has been massive.
Suited Dan with pocket
Let's
aces.
see if he does anything squirrely.
I would hope that he would play tricky and let Chris do something. Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
Sorry.
I absolutely would.
that's loud.
Raised to 650 by suited Dan.
What are the blinds?
Oh, yeah, I like to hear.
Chris Ward calls.
And he called. Wait, what just happened?
What was the raise,
Dan
Tony?
raised to 650, and Chris called with.
Oh, this is going to be great.
This is
Suited Dan with 34,000 total.
I wish one time I could get suited Dan to slow play.
Wow, he really put that much in.
Yeah, he put 4,000 in.
I don't like that.
Chris folds.
He always does that though.
Yeah, he does that a lot. Yeah.
Dan could let Chris hang himself there.
Suited Dan shows
I
aces.
think that's a leak. He's raising so massive, and you're calling with the 3-4 suited.
What are the blinds now?
Lines in 22 seconds will be 75, 150.
So you're still 50, 100, 66 times.
In that case, if you're going to get a call of 6.5,
Do it.
Aces?
Yeah.
Why not?
If you can get 3-4 suited to call 6.5
every day.
I will raise that. I'd raise it like that as my standard raise.
Hi, buddy.
He probably got more value than if he would have just raised it normal. Maybe.
Oh,
I'll stop in for 2 seconds.
I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew you could.
Watch the tape. Watch the tape. Jesus, you can't have 2 big cards one time. I just thought
You
he.
can't just bet a little bit one time?
Chris
What am
Ward
I gonna
calls.
do?
Where he's at?
What did he? Okay, so what am I gonna do?
Well, no,
if I
I
double
mean-
his bet, he's gonna call for sure.
Check
I only
fold.
had.
Yeah. What's wrong with
Next
calling?
round,
All
Chris
right, then what was the
fold,
turn?
checks his
I don't
options.
know.
Was it,
Wait,
well, I know.
What was a turn? If you knew that what that was going to be, that would be amazing.
You
Robert
don't have
bets
to put balls
350.
to the wall
I
every
know.
hand.
This is true. You're right. You know, I'm just learning.
Okay, looks like the worst hand would just won that one. Nice aggressive play by Rob there.
I actually just thought he was raising every raise. So, because he loves to play.
It looked-
He
it
even said
definitely-
last week,
it
he
definitely
played
looked
the
that way.
first
He
2
bluffed you out
levels.
of it. Yeah,
He did
yeah.
bluff me out of the one hand.
Yeah.
So I just like, okay, I think he's just raising the raise. Maybe he has a couple big cards. That was. I thought that was a good textured flop for what my hand. You know, I mean, what it. You know, he's got to have a 9 or a jack or a big pair. Okay.
You open that door, I come right through.
Corey to act first.
Could we lose half the field before break?
We're trying.
Anything's possible.
Get him, Train.
I'm trying.
Get me out of here by 8:30.
That'd be a record.
Bunch of raggedy hands here. Whoever bets will probably win.
Chris Ward raises to 325.
I like that raising the button regardless of your hand. You have 2 tight players, especially the tightest player in the big blind who's folding 95% of the time.
Paul's going to get his big blind raise here. If it folds to the button with Chris there,
Oh, absolutely.
It'll 100% of the time.
Ed to act first.
Folding the button against Paul's big blind would be negative expectations.
the voice of God, and he's telling me.
I don't think Max
Fold.
He's doing fades and all that.
I don't care to get into that right now.
Actually, with the quad,
Fill out my chart either. Yeah.
No, he would have done
What's
Dude.
his chart?
Yeah.
It's
I don't
just,
think he
it's
would've-
I don't know.
He was going to keep track of
A few aces spread around the
pre-flop raises,
table here.
voluntary, putting chips in the pot.
Oh.
Call 150 by Suited Dan.
Without the
No,
exact
Daz watched every episode, I think.
without the exact percentages, Chris is definitely leading in
Moskowitz
VPIP
calls.
and C-bet percentage at this
Corey
point in
checks
time.
his option.
Could you explain kicker to me again?
VPIP is a voluntary put money in pot.
Not counting the big blind.
This could get interesting.
300 bet by Paul
This is what
Moskowitz.
you call awesome.
Paul's betting with the worst hand.
What you call awesome.
Paul is so concerned about people calling him a nit, a tightwad.
I think that's what happens to him.
That he
Level
get
himself.
he literally does what he'll level himself to avoid ridicule from the other players at the table. And,
Corey calls.
And these two handsome gentlemen in the booth.
3 players.
I count
Which
four.
two?
I count four hands and gentlemen.
Suited Dan called also.
We'll give Bobby a pass on that.
Bobby's the cutest one here, I think.
600 bet by Paul
Thank you.
Moskowitz.
You can reach at 555.
You can all the fans out there. You can post on Facebook on Chase the Bracelet Facebook page who you think is the cutest player.
Player train.
Player, not play, but player.
Raised to 1500 by Corey.
Wow,
Good move by Corey.
Corey just raised on the turn there. Dan folded the ace-8.
he kind of has to. I mean, it's getting
Oh,
a little
yeah.
draw scary, and he definitely wants to charge a flush draw. Or if there's a weaker ace, he could get value from that too, and especially how Paul's reputation is. I'm sure he's going to try to get value from maybe Paul having a weaker ace.
Well, Paul's about this long. He's folding.
900 for Paul to call.
You'd be surprised. He's been doing a lot of different things. I think he's been trying to change up his game.
Well,
This
he
is-
has, but he'll do it quicker.
Yeah.
When he waits
That's
this
true.
long.
When he wants to ship it in the middle, he usually stacks his chips up, slams in
Yeah.
the middle, and just crosses his hands
He'll
and prays.
pick up the golf ball, look at his cards, and then muck.
Yep, those are the same two.
There you
Cool.
go.
And he's just.
And then he's going to think about it. Man, every time against this
If
kid.
only he knew he made a great fold there.
You know what the best part is? When we go on break, I'm going to tell him he got bluffed.
You shouldn't. You should not say anything about
Train,
it.
don't laugh. You're giving away our tails.
Yeah, Paul's super good at reading people, and I'm pretty sure he's eyeing you down right now.
Suited Dan back
Through the
first.
glasses.
What's your guys' opinion on sunglasses at the table?
I don't mind them, except for Paul's. They were CoverGirl glasses.
I was going to say that
So,
if you're going to wear ladies' glasses at the table, it just loses.
I don't know if you caught that episode when he didn't realize that it said CoverGirl on the side, and then he ripped it out.
I did.
Hilarious.
I was a participant in that viewing session.
That's
I've
good.
only worn sunglasses one time. And that's when I was doing my Chris Ferguson impression.
Me too.
Chris
And
Wood
it-
calls.
And it drove me
Robert
crazy.
calls.
I like to stare people down and make them make bad decisions.
It drove me crazy, and for some weird reason, I
Moskowitz
felt like
calls.
I couldn't hear.
I honestly, I had the same instance.
He had the same feeling. It's weird. It's when you put
it's
the
that
sun.
sensory deprivation.
It's like messes up
where
your-
you just, like,
Ed checks
you
his
lose,
option.
part of your senses, and you.
I think it's because when sounds, when people talk, you can't really see as clearly as you were, and it makes it. I don't know. It's science. Somebody Google it.
Top pair for Moskowitz. We got her ball for Rob.
If anybody has any comments, post on Facebook. About the glasses and not hearing thing. If you have any science behind that logic,
Moskowitz bets.
we would love to hear it.
How much did he bet?
Call for 425.
Call 425.
Rob bet the gut shot.
Why not?
Usually hits like 50% of the time.
Well, not,
Deuce.
Bink.
I called it.
Okay, and
That's what we
sorry,
call-
I meant 60%
oh,
of
see
the
now,
time.
Robert bets 800.
a 9 here would just
Now
be
Paul is
brutal.
just
Paul
tilting.
calls.
Paul's like on a
nine or-
mini tilt. He's not even thinking this
Throw
through.
a jack up there just to
A
make
9
life
or a jack would just
unbelievable.
be awful.
Ooh.
Oh, he gets 2 deuces.
That's gonna make. I think that makes Paul feel better about his
1600
game.
bet by Robert.
Paul is so confident right now.
He's gonna put him on a flush draw. I swear. I'm pretty sure he's gonna put him on a flush draw.
I think
and
Paul's going to fold.
Look at him.
I think he's going to fold.
No, he doesn't
No,
want
he's-
that, but he's already calling.
Never raising, but calling more often than not. Oh.
I think he's gonna fold.
Do we have an approximation in Paul's stack?
Paul has about 3,000.
Thanks, Train.
So that's half his stack.
Yeah, Paul hates getting bluffed. He hates being that guy.
Well, and he knows Rob's capable of doing crazy stuff too. I mean, Rob will bet sometimes with air, but a lot of times he gets there. A lot of times he has a hand when he's betting on the river.
He's been working really hard on getting there, and as you see in his hand, it's really paying off. Not to mention his ab work.
So what's going through Rob's mind right now?
Please call.
Please call.
please raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go all in.
I think if he'd have,
Good fold, Paul.
Never show those folds.
Never show a hand ever unless the dealer forces you to do so. Or Bob asks you.
Or you
to show the bluff.
Yeah.
Or you bluff
and they show the hand.
that you know you can set off.
This is true. I do have a very good track record.
I'm sitting very close to one right now.
Oh, absolutely. I admit it.
I think about 8
There's no
times.
worse loser in poker than me.
I don't know about that. I'm not a winning player myself. I just hit bad beats.
Stays on.
Next on Chris Ward to act first. Chris Ward playing for Max.
That's the only way. I
can't believe Norman Chad gets paid to do this. This is amazing.
He's very creative, though.
He is.
Give him that.
I mean,
well, it's easy to be creative when you've got all day to think about it, and then they just replay it.
Yeah.
You're not there doing it live.
There's so many ex-wives to talk about.
Is he still dating What's her face?
I imagine.
Peekaboo.
Blonde girl.
Vanessa. No, not Vanessa.
What?
That's Chad Brown.
No
Who
way.
are you talking about?
Norman Chad.
Ed calls 150.
Chad Brown, and I think had cancer.
So Dan checks
He
his
does do a
option.
little bit of commentating. Yes, he does.
He did on
Vanessa.
Yeah.
If that was
Both players
possible,
check.
then I am going to quit trying to play poker and become an announcer.
It's so far so good. It's a pretty good gig. It's like we just check to the river and
9 high will take it if they check it down,
This is gonna be-
which I don't think is going to happen. But
absolutely will.
oh,
And everyone's just mad about how bad they play. The guys give up that pot to 9 high. I don't know, be back.
Action on Robert first.
Yeah, there's several players in this game that they don't, even when they don't have anything and the other guy's not betting, they don't think about throwing a bet out there to see if it'll win.
kind of like me.
All they go is, I got 6 high. I
Robert
can't
calls.
win.
There's a lot of things to be said about that because
Paul calls
sometimes
150.
people will do that when they can make people fold a better hand, like and they have a smaller pocket pair or something, but they feel like they have showdown value, so they just check it down. A lot of times the bet will take it though, depending on the board. And
I feel like
nobody
showdown
else
value
takes
is
that.
Corey
overrated.
raises to 700.
I mean, just because you get showdown value doesn't mean you have to check
Exactly.
the showdown. I mean, you can turn your hand into a bluff and make better hands fold a lot of the time.
It's like Corey made a standard raise after a limp under the gun.
Suited Dan calls 700.
Dan has suited cards, so he's never folding.
Or King Jack also.
Oh, I mean, he's going all in with it.
King Jack.
As
King
Bobby
Jack,
knows,
Bobby.
as
Yeah,
Bobby
I know.
knows, King Jack is the nuts.
Oh, too well.
He don't like that.
Robert calls.
Paul says, "I'll get back to
And
form."
Paul using a little bit of common sense and just getting the hell out of the way.
Let's see a flop set for Corey and some straight draws.
That's
That
gonna
is
changed the game a little
That's a nice flop for
Rob.
not for Corey,
Not for Corey, for Rob.
but he could. Here's the problem: he's gonna c-bet here, and Rob's gonna call. Corey will put him on the ace, which might slow down the action on the turn.
Corey, that's 1900.
I think that's going to get Dan off his straight draw for sure.
Dan,
You
yeah,
think, but
Yeah.
I mean,
He's like gut with running.
sometimes Dan
I
likes
mean, I
to.
really think Dan's in fold mode. I think he really has to move up in place.
I think he is too, especially playing against Corey, since Corey's in second place. I feel like that
absolutely.
might determine something, but
And Rob is never folding a flush draw.
oh, I mean,
I
he's
can
got a
see, I
flush
can
draw.
see a raise here.
Robert calls.
I would also. The raise would be awesome.
Yep.
Both players check.
And
as
Well,
predicted.
I
It went
would-
check, check.
I would not be surprised to see Rob. put
Dan would
that
be-
I
in
could see a
there.
little value bet here
On
from
the
Corey.
Check, check. Wow.
After Rob catches up on the river.
Robert bets 2,900.
Oh my.
Corey, come on, bud.
Corey
See,
fold.
this is one of, I
It
think
goes
this is one of
check,
Corey's
check.
downfalls.
Yeah, he's-
Well, but the problem is we've seen Rob play how many weak aces all season.
That's
So we probably put him on a weak ace.
This is true, but
I don't think with the flush draw, Rob should ever be checking.
you would never check
ace
the
there.
turn. Yeah, that's the turn play.
The
Running into the river.
I know we look like geniuses because we see the cards, but there's just certain tells and certain betting patterns you can pick up on. You could really distinguish someone's hand.
Paul Dack first. Calls 150.
Especially like looking at his own image compared, like
Absolutely.
if he thinks how everybody views him as super tight.
And I think that would be
might-
something that if I was one of these players, I would go back and watch the film and see how everyone
the tape.
perceives me, because that is the biggest part of
Chris calls.
not the biggest part, a huge part of your own game.
Well, that's something that I had
Everybody
to.
think Marco's a nit.
Exactly, I am.
Exactly.
I'll take my leave.
See you, Marco.
See you next week, Marco.
Good game.
I'll be here. I might have a sub for the last 2 games.
You're allowed to stuff.
All players check.
Multi-hand. No, I agree. That's something I had to learn. I didn't realize how
All
people
players
really
check.
view me at the table, especially when started out playing super tight the whole season, and everybody thought I was a maniac. I was getting paid off, and
Let's see if Paul wins this with queen high here.
It's hard to shake that.
but it's hard to realize what people think of you.
Paul's slow rolling with queen high, as you should.
As you always should.
make the 2 blinds show their hands, then whip over to queen high nuts. Corey, do you want some calisthenics?
I think that was a mistake of mine, actually. It being later on in the season, I started to get a little more aggressive, and it just seemed like a mistake because everybody already looked at me like I was super aggressive. So they're calling me lighter, and I don't know.
It's just like any other sport. You want to play what the defense gives you. If they want to, play back at you because they think you're opening super light,
Only play the nuts.
tighten it up. It's not super difficult, but you have to play the hands you're given to an extent.
Right.
Well, Suited Dan seemed to be wanting to get in pots with you all season.
Oh, yeah. He has a little thing with me.
A little vendetta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind it. That's what you want. You want players
Possibly because Bobby berates him at any given moment he can.
It is true. I did feel bad.
Ed raises to 425.
I thought about it. I was like, I need to quit doing that. Because I don't want Dan to go home and
Suited
cry.
Dan calls.
I don't know if he does or not. And
Well, he
I
got a
hurt
little
his feelings.
misty-eyed on the second break.
Yeah.
Talking about
that's what I thought. And I just, I don't want to do that to somebody.
No,
I'm not a mean person. I
Yeah,
like
it's
to
your
play
boy.
poker,
And plus, you never, not to call Dan a fish, but you don't. Why
You don't tap the glass, man.
Exactly. Don't roof off that glass.
Yeah, man.
You feed it, you nurture it, whatever else you do with fish, you keep them hanging around.
Flush them down the
Suited
toilet.
Dan
That's what I'm
bet
trying.
750.
That's what I'm gonna do. This is interesting.
Dan flops top pair here with his Jack-9.
Ed folds.
And then
That makes
the
a
ace king.
I would have probably peeled one off there. What can Dan really have that
Yeah.
isn't scared on the turn?
Well, and you can pick up a lot of cards on the turn that would scare him too.
Any heart,
Scare cards
ace
that you
king.
can.
2 minutes left in the blinds. Blinds are 150, 75, 150. Ed Dack first.
Paul with
Wow.
jacks.
I foresee him folding this to a raise.
I foresee
I'm joking.
him raising way too much and not getting any action
Yeah.
and getting bummed out about it.
He might even shove if somebody just limps in.
Chris calls 150.
Of course.
Chris is in there with King 7 off.
Of course.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack-9 off.
He's in the cutoff. He's for sure raising.
And again, I don't. Well,
Paul
I guess you
raises
do have
to
Corey in the big
1,000.
blind, but still, it's another type player. Why are you ever limping?
Chris Ward calls 1,000.
So what did it go limp when he limped?
Limp raised by Paul.
And
Call
then like
by
an 8x
Rogers.
raised by Paul.
Really?
Yeah. And now this is where...
We all know where this is going. I smell a check raised by by
Paul
Chris.
checks.
Yeah. Now
No, he's in
Chris-
position.
Oh, no, he's in
Chris
position.
checks.
Yeah. Chris checked. Now Chris knows he doesn't have an ace, so he's going to bet the turn.
Oof.
Both players check.
Wow. I'm actually shocked by how this is getting checked down now. There should be no bets. I mean, there's no way anybody could bet on the river. Like, what can he possibly bet? Only rep
Well,
10,
yeah,
maybe.
but
I mean,
Paul,
that's,
won't, yeah, Paul doesn't
Bet
think
700
that
by
most of the
Chris
time.
Ward.
And all Paul has is a bluff catcher now.
Yeah.
Because of the way he played the hand.
see, he gets himself in this situation, and now he's like down on himself.
And here's the thing, Paul is not a terrible player. He just psychs himself out, and he just makes a lot of zigs where
he just gets too worried, you know. Yeah, he does like sometimes the opposite of what. Oh, and then he shows that he.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If I was Chris, I'd show right now. I hate showing, but
Bam.
there's the
Perfect
ticket.
stuff. There we
There's
go.
the ticket. I mean,
Well, I mean, if
cutthroat.
once Paul's checked that twice, I wouldn't even have to look at my cards and I'd throw that at him.
Well, because
you have to.
there's no way. I mean, you don't expect
18
them to have
minutes till
jacks
break.
there ever. You don't expect them to have anything. You expect them to have like, who knows, pocket pair lower than the board maybe.
Yeah.
He just, anytime he's so gun shy sometimes. As soon as that overcard hits, he just shuts it down.
He hasn't quite mastered the thought of he took the aggressive lead pre-flop.
Yeah.
Suited Dan back
Ace,
first.
kings, queens, those are all cards you can bet and rep to take down the hand at that moment.
Well, and another thing, everybody views him as a really tight player,
Yeah.
so take advantage of that
Just,
situation.
I mean, it's the exact same thing we were talking about earlier. You have to know your own image and know how everyone perceives you.
We were talking about that same thing with him last week. He raised a hand with 2-3 offsuit.
Robert
He
announces
got
a
two
raise.
callers. And then an ace hit.
800.
He had position, and he checked it to him, and he checked.
Yeah, that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be betting that board no matter what.
Right. If you're going to rep that hand,
Yeah.
and the ace hits and they check it for you, you got to bet.
Well, because it's standard. It's almost like a known thing in poker now. You know, if somebody raises and you get in the pot, you check to the raiser, and then they fire, and usually continuation bet. It's almost like happens every time. So when somebody doesn't, it's either like you feel like they're just trying to trap, a weird trap, which that puts like red flags up every time somebody checks after they raise pre-flop, or they just totally miss.
Chris
And
Ward act first.
somebody who has more aggressive will
And
take
I
advantage.
think people get a lot of physical tells when they raise pre-flop and check a flop when they
Chris
flop a
calls.
monster, opposed to on a
Robert
straight
calls.
airball.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
They telegraph it fairly easily.
like me. I mean, when I flop a monster, you
Ed
know
calls.
it. Yep.
Starts licking lips.
Suited checks.
I do
his
that when I'm
option.
bluffing too, though. I just do weird
You guys
things.
heard it here first. I'm telling all Bobby's tells right now.
Rob flops second pair. Chris flops bottom.
Robert bet 600.
Call. Heads up.
Chris Ward calls
So
600.
let's get there in a turn.
Bink.
Yahtzee.
He is running like God right now. It's
I'm
just
pretty sure the turn is the new river.
1200 bet by Robert.
It breaks more
Call by
cards.
Chris.
Now queen here.
that's interesting.
Ooh, that could actually
That's really interesting.
slow Chris down. Or
Wow.
or just a snap
Just
mug.
went check.
Yes, he did.
Oh, check.
That's
I feel like the value bets always should be coming out there. I mean, how scared could you really be of guys oversetting you in the river?
exactly. I mean, if you think he had a top pair, but that card coming makes it even less likely that he had a jack. I mean, it's
That makes bottom pair look great, let alone having trips.
yeah. I'm a big fan now of bet folding. I mean, he could bet, and then if he gets raised, fold.
Especially when you're value betting, you're not betting that much to begin with. You know, and so if a guy jams on you, say you got there, congratulations, see you next hand. Especially with his chip stack right now, it's not like he's losing out on a ton of a huge percentage of his.
Suited
of his
Dan
stack.
calls.
Well, that's the quad hand, same thing. Like I should be bet folding, even though I hit such a monster
Chris
on the
Ward
river.
raises
I mean, nobody
400.
can ever raise the you know what I mean? Nobody's ever raising the river,
You got blinded by the boat.
but
Heads up.
Suited Dan calls.
that's a tough spot though. But it's just because my hand's so like.
Suited Dan
hidden.
check start.
I mean,
What is your guys' opinion on check dart?
I hate it.
I do too.
It's not that I hate it. It's happening
Chris bet
regardless.
600.
Like like you're always checking the razor anyhow. But what for?
Yeah.
Like you're not Philhelmuth. Like who cares? All you're doing is
Suited Dan fold.
trying to let everyone else know that you've played poker before.
Right. It's not
Because
tricky.
you've seen it on TV is the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I feel like it's just like people are lazy. They don't want to wait their turn. They just want to get the check out of the way.
But hey, if you find a guy,
Something.
if you find a guy that does that all the time, and you know he's always checking,
I'm
then
betting dark.
Why not?
I did
bet,
it.
Bet dark.
Interesting story.
But you know he's never donk betting though. So that's
Yeah.
There's
You're always going to have the opportunity.
There's no
to,
extra wrinkle in his game, which is good for you, especially because obviously you have position on him if he's checking dark to you every time.
That happened in Columbus. I was playing against one of the dealers at the Horseshoe. He checked dark to me, and I bet dark, and I had aces, and he ended up flopping an open-ended straight flush draw, and then raised my bet dark.
All calls.
And I went all in, and he called, and he hit on the river. And every time I see him, I tell him how he owes me $200. So if you're watching this, you owe me $200.
Chris Ward calls. Robert checks his option.
It's a weird thing to me. I don't know. I don't really understand the point.
Heads up, maybe, but I've seen guys do it here in a 5-handed pot. You know.
Yeah.
And if you flop something, you're just giving up too much value.
I mean, I've done it before, but I almost have done it to save time. Rob gets there in a turn.
Yeah, Rob makes trips on the turn.
Only problem is I can get too
All
much
players
action.
check.
Yeah, because you know Paul's going to fold fives, especially now that I came up.
400 bet by Robert.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
He's
Call by
tilting.
Paul
Yep, I knew that was
Moskowitz.
going in. He's like, oh, he thinks his ace has good. He's like, nope.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm motorboating, cuz. Oh, Paul seems to smile.
He's going to continue to tilt himself until
He does. He's been tilted since he woke up this morning, thinking he's like, I have to go play. You know, you can't have that defeatist attitude.
That's why I couldn't imagine if what happened to me out there, that hand happened to him.
Oh my gosh.
Corey Dack first.
He might have burned down the table.
I'm pretty sure we would have to get vests in the booth.
All right, here we go. We're getting back to some.
And suited Dan with
some
an
solid
suited
hands.
ace.
Let's see
Ed
it.
with 10s, Corey with 7s.
Ned has position on him.
It's always good
Corey
to have
raises
position.
600.
I'm a big fan of position.
Ed calls 600.
That's all the thing that matters. Good job, Dan. That's discipline right there.
I just sometimes wonder if there's any rhyme or reason to the hands he calls with.
Absolutely not.
Sometimes it's just random.
I mean,
He'll call with a Jack 4 suited, but when he's got the A7, you know, a chance to flop the nut flush,
this could get interesting. If Corey wants to rep a stronger hand than he has and turn it into a bluff, that does have the redraw of the straight.
I will say that both these players know that each other plays kind of tight, so it might just go check
Both players
into
check.
oblivion. Because they both have quote-unquote showdown value.
Yeah.
I think if Corey bets here, he's going to take it.
I feel like this is his opportunity. I mean, he's checking to the razor.
Corey
Now
bets
he's gonna
800.
bet because
That's such an awkward spot, though. You always feel like it's just so awkward. You feel like even when you just check on the flop and you lead turn out of position,
Ed
it always
calls.
feels awkward. I feel like it feels like a delayed dunk bet.
it kind of does, but it makes sense. I mean,
You have to. If the guy's gonna show that much weakness, you can't just let the hand get checked down in a spot like this.
Check.
Both players
There's
check.
nothing wrong with turning your hand to a bluff.
wow.
Ed with his 10
Did it
sticks
go
down.
check on the river?
Yes, it did.
sir.
See, I feel like if you're going to bet the turn,
You gotta
you're
bet
going to
the
have to
river.
bet the river.
Yeah.
You can't bet the turn on a board like that, the way it was played, and then not bet the river.
Betting the turn is hoping he folds. Betting turn river is having a plan.
Yeah.
And having a plan will get you so much further than anything else.
That's one thing you should never bet without knowing what you're going to do if something happens.
Ed to act first.
Yeah,
That's
I feel like knowing Ed, he should have known that Ed would have bet that flop if he had a hand. Like if he
Absolutely.
had part of that board. So him calling on the turn, I mean, is exactly the hand he had. It's almost like he played it face up.
Rob with ace jack here, not too much else.
Yeah, it's like
Chris is probably going to get in here with
Chris bets 450.
King 7 offsuit.
this is one of those times I think a small 3-bet would be awesome.
Raised to 1,000 by Robert.
Raised to 1,000.
Really good sizing.
With his Rob
Yeah,
got
that's good.
headphones on out there.
Well, just because, he's been
Chris
pretty
calls.
aggressive, I feel like,
And Chris calls.
Chris
with
says
the
position
King
ain't a
7.
thing. I don't even mind.
There we go.
Flops can
Robert
airball.
bets 1,500.
So now I'm assuming he's going to check fold unless he thinks he's going to be tricky.
Chris fold.
It's just with these stack sizes, it's basically everyone has an awkward stack.
Yeah.
There's not too much room to get too tricky with anybody.
He could have flatted the raise too. I mean you're in position with a pretty strong hand. I mean ace jack is strong enough to not 3-bet. And you get that flop, you might get more from Chris.
I'm always a fan of 3-betting someone that's been opening as often as Chris has.
Oh, me too.
As much as he's opening.
Especially when he's been opening and getting called or getting 3-bet, and he has flats.
Yeah.
With
if you know he's going to do that, then you might as well get some money in the pocket.
Exactly. Same situation with Dan earlier. He raises 6.5x and gets called by 3-4.
Raise to 750
Why
by
not?
suited Dan.
Do it every time.
Exactly.
I mean, his small 3-bet was fine, but he could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know exact chip tax, but he could put out a huge one. Got called, put him the exact same way, and
got more value. Yeah.
That's a new term right there. 3-bet for value. And
so there's threes here.
What
do you guys feel here when you get an under the gun raise and you got threes in the big blind?
Ed calls.
Well, against Dan, I would probably call one time and see what happens.
I don't like taking off too much of my stack, but I mean, if it's only like 10% or so.
Yeah.
Why not?
And Dan flops a miracle.
Everyone knew he was getting there.
Boom goes the dynamite.
And he's bet
1250. Bet 1250 by suited Dan.
See, I think it's a problem with a lot of players that on a straight draw and flush draw, they feel like it's automatic to just blast a pot.
Yeah, and they always bet big too. They always try to protect.
Give him a chance.
Yeah.
Do something weird. Bet less than you did pre-flop.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. Or even the same amount. I do that a lot, especially in cash. My C bets now are a lot tinier than they used to be. I've been saving a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Because I used to bet really big on the flop, and then if I get raised, it hurts my feelings.
And your feelings are all that matter to us. Not much table chatter at this table.
No, all the chatter people are gone.
Yeah, Marco's gone.
Marco's gone.
Mark doesn't talk.
Dr. B. Mills is sitting in with us.
Yep.
Yeah, Bobby and Marco were out. So.
They both were limited.
If I was out there after every hand, you'd be like, you'd hear me say, "Nice bluff, man. What'd you have?" And they'll show me.
A couple players with the
you talk Paul into
the original Dempsey.
That's so many hands this year.
It's amazing. I think I should write a book on that, on how to get information from players. I feel like
see if Dan gets a walk here. Yep.
Oh, of course.
Dr. Rungood.
My personal opinion, I would be raising the small blind there, or at least calling with that hand.
Why not? Especially with the dynamic we have here. We have a guy obviously waiting to accumulate points and a tight guy to his right.
Yep.
Dan has to respect that.
I like to mix in limping from the small blind when it folds to me, and then just auto c-betting like any flop.
Robert tacked first.
I mean,
I think instead of limping, I just to double and then just mash any flop.
Yeah.
Why not get that extra blind from your opponent?
Not a whole lot going on.
You could, but then it's kind of a repetitive pattern of you always raising and then.
Why not every time?
I don't know.
Limping's like my biggest pet peeve. That
well, yeah.
saying it's a classic race.
What's so classic about it?
It's the worst.
Chris gets a walk?
No kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I picked up on watching that Brain Inc. dude. His sit and goes.
Brainiac.
Brainiac. It's like Brain Inc. or something.
Yeah, he's got his own avatar.
That's what he taught me. Limp in from the small blind and then just auto c-bet. It works like so much. You save money by not raising,
Well, yeah, it's like if you're playing heads up, in a single table format.
Mm-hmm.
He's missing so often. Why not take whatever you can?
I got mine on.
Suited Dan with 7-8 off. Chris with King 9 of clubs.
Dan says, I refuse to play. Chris will raise.
Of course. And I think he's going to get a call for sure.
Chris calls 200. Robert checks his option.
We'll see some 9s in the flop.
That was a check dark by Chris.
I don't know.
Two players.
I don't think he did.
That's what I'm talking about. You guys got to phone ahead for these things.
350.
350 bet by Chris
I
Ward.
love the action.
Robert calls.
Now it's 10.
No, I want the case 9 to come.
Better
And
play
then
it.
the 10.
Yes.
There we go.
I want somebody to get punished.
600 bet by Chris Ward. Called by Robert.
Such quick calls.
5.
No thought at all. Just I'm calling. Oh, this is gonna be a.
This eliminates some of the chop
600 bet by
possibilities
Chris
that,
Ward.
Rob might have had in mind.
Robert calls.
Look at that. Didn't even stop to think. Just call.
I got a pair I call.
And that's.
I've been doing too much of that
I've been
lately myself.
Oh, I didn't say the king.
It's not a chop.
I've been victim of that once or twice. Especially when someone bets each street so fast.
Yeah.
It's almost like, well, they're not thinking. I'm not going to think either. They just roll with it.
He wasn't even in your hand. He didn't even know what you had.
Bet moves Corey to act first.
Talking just to talk. Yeah, but he had.
You couldn't hear him.
Thank you.
Chris and Paul Queen 10.
Was that the first quads of the season? I don't remember anybody ever getting quads yet.
Probably the first flop quads or first natural
Yeah,
quads.
I don't remember anybody getting quads.
Raised to
Well, of course
425
it's
by
against
Ed.
me. I run so bad. I have the worst luck.
Ed raises with Jack 8 off here.
Jack 8 was a favorite hand of mine for a little while.
Ed's stepping out.
During my losing streak.
I'm not a
Robert
big
calls.
fan of
And
8
Rob
jack offs.
given no thought to that. Ed doesn't raise very often.
Paul dunks his cards in the muck.
So he calls out of position from the small blind with Queen 5 suited. Maybe he has a plan. He knows Ed's a tight player, so maybe he has a plan to steal the spot away from
I
us.
think all the queens are gone. And he flops the 5.
With a backdoor flush draw. Backdoor.
See how this action plays out here.
I would love to see Ed just 3-barrel it here.
1 minute, 40 seconds left in the blinds.
Can't expect to get flop.
I was staring at you, but.
Well, on this board, I mean, it's a great board to
Both players
bet
check.
for sure, at least.
Well, see, now he's getting called on the turn.
7.5.
Robert bet 725.
Yeah, he can't.
Yeah, he loses all momentum in the hand.
Right.
I mean, that's the type. You're looking for a dry board like that, king high with. Like,
Ed folds.
King high, rainbow. I mean, that's yours all day for the pre-flop raiser.
They may call the flop, but then if you fire on
Yeah,
a turn,
if
it's
I-
like hard for them to call, especially when the 10 comes. It's even more possibilities.
Especially if you play out of the blind. You know, obviously, like, you know, I got some money in there, I might as well call. So they do, and you know, you're so marginal so often.
Before the end of the hand, make sure you count your chips so you can let the people
Sometimes
know
you're
what
actually
you got.
margarine.
Yeah. I can't believe it's not butter.
You never would have guessed.
I think it would be an awesome cash game.
Action on Ed.
Don't get me
Suited Dan
started.
with ace-5, Rob with an ace-deuce suited. And Dan folds an ace-5, Corey
Man,
with
he
sixes.
is the Mitt Romney of the crew tonight.
Definitely.
Call
He's trying to
200 by
keep that
Chris.
lead. He knows now that he has a really good shot at keeping close because I'm knocked out.
Robert raises to 900.
I'm not coming
Corey's
back.
not too far behind.
Well, that's
There you go. Good move by Corey. He just stuffs it
All in
there.
by Corey.
3,000.
3,200.
200.
200.
Love that.
I really doubt he's going to call.
I tell you
Ace
what,
deuce,
if
I
there's
mean-
anybody at the table that could, he makes some calls.
I just don't know how good of a call that would be. I mean,
Oh, it's a terrible call.
After this hand, we'll be on a 10-minute break.
I mean, just
I've seen him
because.
make some calls, though, that boggle the mind.
Just because. You know, it's
Robert calls.
Yeah.
Boom.
I think
Sixes.
suited Dan's rooting for an ace right here.
Ace deuce.
Oh, for sure.
No, he's gonna flop the
Then he
steel
can
wheel.
coast.
Steel wheel trains, do it.
I see an ace.
No, you don't.
I know.
Three
It
hearts.
looks like it's
It looked like the ace of spades.
There goes all those outs.
Ugh.
Wait for it.
Oh, the counterfeit
Wait
card.
for it.
And someone's mad.
Four
Boom.
Oh.
Nothing.
So close.
That was so close. I would.
Corey doubles up.
All right, we'll be on break now.
I'll be back.
What's there when you get back? Yeah. That's my favorite, Corey. Everybody else ran away from it. Bobby, what?